Going in depth tonight after President Joe Biden announced executive orders this week aimed at slowing gun violence. One of the big focuses is now on ghost guns. But what are they? And we're digging into that question tonight and asking how the process of getting them is different than a normal firearm purchase. So we also wanted to know what potentially makes them more dangerous. Matt Kaufax spoke with a local gun expert over in Simpsonville. He's live for us tonight with more on what he uncovered.
Yeah, well, Cody, ghost guns are also commonly referred to as 80% guns or kit guns. Now, they don't really require the normal background checks that one would go through when purchasing a firearm because there is no paper trail if you don't have a serial number. Now, one local expert tells me that it's really about the parts that go into ghost guns, which some can be vastly different, also part of a more complex process. He says he would always encourage people to buy from a licensed dealer or shop. President Biden says cracking down on, quote, ghost guns, parts of which he says can be bought in ready-made kits, are one of the top items on his current list.
You know, I want to see these kits treated as firearms under the Gun Control Act, which is going to require that the seller and manufacturers make the key parts with serial numbers.
The president says unserialized firearms present a danger because they can be bought by anyone and weapons used in crimes can't be traced. But some disagree on the idea that weapons-making kits are readily available.
The only way these guns are getting manufactured is if they're getting manufactured for personal use by somebody.
We asked Michael Smith, the director of imports at Upstate Armory in Simpsonville, about ghost guns. He contends that in his experience, many people who have the money or knowledge to build their own weapons aren't trying to use them to cause harm.
The serial number, which is put on the receiver, is regulated. That's how the ATF tracks the firearm.
A metal receiver on a Glock or AR-15 is something he says can be 3D printed without a serial number. But he believes only an extremely small number of people nationwide are capable of manufacturing receivers, many of whom are in the firearms business.
We legally can't take that gun in because that gun does not have a serial number, so we cannot record that gun in our ATF logbooks.
He believes the executive order is misplaced, but also says it's just easier for everyone if you buy locally and from a professional.
The reality is, if you're making something like that on your own, you're not going to be up to snuff on the tolerances. You're not going to be making something that's properly anodized. You're not going to be making a firearm that's going to be something that's going to be high quality.
Now, Smith believes that those who may have sinister intent that would seek to cause harm, who know that they probably can't pass a background check in a store, are using other means, not this ghost gun building mostly. He says other means to get their hands on weapons, which he believes is a separate issue entirely. Now, anti-gun violence advocates paint a very different picture. They say that, quote, ghost gun companies are using the relaxed definition of what the government defines as a firearm to skirt the regulations. This is obviously an ongoing story, so stick with us as it develops. In Greenville, Matt Kaufax, Fox Carolina, the 10 o'clock news.